Another Monday, another day in the US, and another day of a lot of things happening in the news or in our world in general. But nothing is more important than your ability to connect with others, connect with loved ones, and just be happy. And if that means disconnecting for a while and watching some sports, reading your favorite books, or watching your favorite movies, that's all needed and warranted in these times because it's crazy out here, frankly. I just wanted to talk about my thoughts around all of the violence that's happening, political violence, and just mass shootings and anti Semitic violence. And I think the biggest thing happening right now is the president's comments on the Rob Reiner killing. And I think he is, obviously being somewhat insensitive, very insensitive to this killing. And he just had a press conference where he said that Reiner was not a fan of Trump, and he said it in the third person. And I noticed that he did a Truth Social earlier today where he accused Rob Reiner of having Trump derangement syndrome. So it's really bad. And I just want us to put it in context in the larger span of things. It is December, and we had a conservative influencer killed in September, and that influencer had a wide reach. And we've also had National Guard shootings after Trump has placed the National Guard strategically in places, whether as in some view political props, as others to address crime. But it is really sensitive right now. And it is sensitive because people are going to quickly become radicalized. And I think there is a lot of people are coming to their senses type of storylines about Trump. And hopefully, there were some Republicans, but they've kind of been on the offensive with when it comes to Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey all are saying that Trump's comments were inappropriate. Kudos to them, but at the same time, there was a lot of allowances before now that allowed it to get to this point. Still, I am just wondering if we can really just reflect on how fast things are moving and escalating, and the fact that if you push the Trump administration into a corner, then they're going to lash out like a scared dog. And for them, that means still having the White House, still having the political influence they do have, and still having the people they've pardoned and the types of what some call stochastic terrorist activities or tactics that they are able to engage in when they feel like the pressure is on. And fear is a powerful motivator. Fear is a way of making sure people align with your agenda. And I wonder if we are really taking in how dicey it is when you have someone who is going to be only reliant on fear to enforce their will. And he doesn't really need to be popular anymore. They don't really need to be popular anymore. Historically, regimes can rise with popularity or with a plurality of a vote and stay in power just by getting to the point where they secured the power. And no matter if they're popular or unpopular, they're going to use the power. And we are in that really dicey moment. So it's interesting that it's happening after there's been a lot of like kind of patting on the back and trying to be really happy about the off-year elections and supposed civil wars going on in the MAGAverse, Make America Great universe. And sure, we can be excited and follow those things, but power and structures are still the way they have always been, and they're not changing. And the people who control those structures and power, from well financed individuals to the person in the White House, they have a lot of ability to create fear and instability if they really feel like things are going outside the way they want them to. And we just have to keep that in mind. And I know it's not the most hopeful message. Again, my hopeful message was find something that makes you happy in your life. The small things count, the people in your life matter. But that is the consequence of the last election last year. And that's why I have been really serious about the fact that we have to realize the people whose strategy won out in 2024 when it came to the Harris campaign and the Democratic coalition really lost the crucial race when it came to trying to find this Trump voter who will come over to Kamala Harris, or this, centrist a strategy of not talking about woke, which has just been horribly bastardized of a term, but not allowing Kamala Harris to really talk about her identity, not talk about human rights abuses abroad, not talking about real crucial things that everyone was in the centrist strategist camp were really worried would alienate that Trump voter that we might be able to win over, and really didn't. And we just ended up deactivating base voters, young people, people of color. And that was a crucial election because look at where we are now. We're in a really hostile moment in American political life and in American history. And it is the culmination of decades of the GOP weaponizing the backlash to the rights revolutions of reproductive rights, civil rights, immigrant rights. And now it's becoming what it would naturally have always become, where if things are changing, the only way to make them stop changing is by force. And that is just a constant throughout American history. So I really think that we are in for a lot of historical witnessing, and just be on our P's and Q's that Trump the man no longer really matters, but Trump the symbol is what continues to live on. And whether his motives for what he does or says is delusion or strategic, it is going to impact the future because it's happening. And it's no longer about him as a human being. It's about him as a symbol, a myth, something that people will carry with them in their heads for the foreseeable future. And that is interesting, scary, and also reality. And people have their reasons for liking Trump. People have their reasons for not liking Trump. But he is a significant force in American life right now. Love him or hate him. And he still has a lot of power that he can wield and use it in a devastating manner. And so I just say be wary of the hopium, be wary of the people who really have to look at this stuff every day or week to week and are trying to win a news cycle. They have to kind of go through that whole, we're winning this week, we're losing next week, we're winning this week kind of thing. And let's take a longer view and see where we're going to be structurally and civically over a period of like every 3 months, every 5 months, every 6 months, because those are the real temporal elements that we need to follow, not the, who's winning this week, who's winning next week. So on that note, the Steelers are playing tonight. I am a Ravens fan. I am hoping that they lose against the Dolphins, who have been less than mediocre this year, but I'm also hoping that Mike Tomlin can be a successful coach still, because I think apart from the Steelers brand, and sorry, I shouldn't be saying this as a Ravens fan, but, I think he is a pretty good coach. So, it's going to be an entertaining night. Let's see what happens. Hopefully the Steelers don't steamroll them, or, Dolphins turn into a good game, because it'd be nice to have a little bit of Monday night entertainment after a whirlwind of events. And the Monday that is right before holidays, next week is the Monday before the holidays, but it feels like we're almost there. So I know everybody, if you're looking outside and it's snow on the ground, or it's cold when you go outside, or it's colder than you used to if you're in one of the sunnier or hotter states, we're almost there and we can do this. So on that note, I have a 30% off subscription deal happening right now. You can get 12 months of Stew on This for 30% off. The deal runs till January 6th. It's a special holiday deal. We are currently racing towards 100 paid subscribers. So please, please, please give if you can. It goes all the way to make sure that I can keep creating this kind of content, keep connecting with you guys, and we can build a larger independent media world where we are able to have honest assessments of our times, share marginalized voices and voices that usually get gatekeeped, that usually are dealing with gatekeepers and being held out, and that we can just be real. And that's what counts, just being real. So Stew on This, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.